Good morning, Rhode Island.
Good morning, Rhode Island.
And welcome to A State of Mind RI.
We are so excited today. We have our first guest on the show. We have Sally Herreid with Mortgage Equity Partners, right?
Yep.
Now, Sally has had 22 years of mortgage experience, and she also was a real estate agent herself. I worked with her for 4 years. So she brings an incredible amount of knowledge to us, and she's going to bring a ton to you, and we're going to ask her lots of questions, and she's going to answer all of them, right?
All of them and more.
I love that.
Yeah. We're so excited. So I know you've got some complicated questions.
I do have a few complicated questions.
Okay. Should we go with the easy ones first?
Go with the hard ones. Just go.
Go with the hard ones?
Just
All
go.
right, we like it.
Okay.
This is why we love her.
Sally.
Stephen.
I'm kidding. Is it true that both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have charted that historically mortgages climb for 5 years and then fall for 5 years, sort of like a wave? I read an article that stated that pretty clearly, so I'm just checking in. But what do I know? Maybe if that is a fact, people could rest assured that if you were to buy a house today, that nobody has a crystal ball, but maybe you'd be able to refinance in the next 5 years and get a lower mortgage rate.
All right. That's a great one
Okay.
to start with.
That is
So thank you so much for having me. And I have to say, this house is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Really? Oh my gosh. Talk about
Honestly.
stress. You hear the waterfall.
Tile and shit. And then you're like literally here for like, 2 days. You're like, I love this house so much.
Well, we should tell everybody too. I'm sorry before you get answering
it's
that
amazing.
we are in a house that Stephen has on the market with Jeffrey. It is unbelievable. It's called King Congdon. You're going to hear all about it later, but stay tuned for that because it is truly unbelievable. And we're looking at the State House right now in Providence. The best views in the city, amazing.
And looking at it over a swimming pool.
Yeah.
With a waterfall.
And we're not
With
in
a
it.
waterfall inside.
Done. You don't need to hear anything from me,
Pretty
actually.
chic.
You guys
Exactly. Oh, no, go ahead. All right. So anyway.
All right.
what was the
Okay,
question?
So
Okay,
I remember the question.
Okay, good.
You're talking about, you read about 5 years goes up and down.
5 years up and down, sort of
Right.
like a wave.
Right. And also, I want to thank you so much for having me. I really
Oh, we're
appreciate
so
it.
excited
This is
to
so
hear
We're
it.
fun.
so excited to have you here. We
Yes.
see Sally in our private lives too. So.
We do. We do.
So here is the, in a nutshell, answer.
Okay.
So I've been doing this, I got in the business in 87, so it's been over 30 years actually in total.
Wow.
And since when I got in 87, rates have been in the 14 and 15%.
Wow.
So clients back then were so excited to refinancing at 12 and 10%.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do my graph backwards, right? I think that's how it goes
Yeah.
in the video. So if here is 87, they literally trended down until the low point, which was the spring of 21.
Right.
Okay. So if you look at it, and I actually have a little chart, I'm a numbers person, love charts and numbers. Let's see if I can get it to work. Okay. So, I don't know if we can really show this. No, maybe
Well, we
not.
can we'll put a copy up for you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they
well,
won't be
there's a
able to
little
see
chart.
that.
Okay, it's a little too small. But
Excuse me, I can't even see that.
okay,
Hello.
so
I can't even see either one of you guys.
Okay.
When I say so. Where am I?
let me tell you about the chart. Basically, on its way down over the last 30 years, the rates are going like this as it's going down.
Okay.
So it's not like these waves every 5 years. I would say it's a wave that has been going down a mountain
Okay.
for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
As it goes down, it has been little peaks and valleys up and down.
Sure.
So that said, and no one can say with certainty. Basically, right now where we are is where they were in 03 to 08. Okay, so that's where we are at this point. And where economists believe, they don't all agree, but the thought is in 24 to 26, rates are going to be more in the 4.5 to 5.5 range.
Great.
Okay, so yeah.
Great.
So,
That's good news.
in my humble opinion, I'd say when they get to around 5% for the folks who've been buying over the last year and a half and through this year,
Yeah.
Do it.
refinance.
Yeah.
Refinance. It'll be a great time to refinance.
Yeah.
So that's that in a nutshell.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
I had another question for you, Sally, and my question is that, so the way that the market is today that would be different than in 2021 is that when you put an offer in on a house, a couple of years ago, even a year ago, people were getting multiple offers, sometimes 30 offers on a single house, which significantly drove up the price of the house. So if you went in thinking you were going to buy a $1 million house, you might end up spending something more like, $1,200,000. And so I guess my question is in today's market, if you were to buy it if the house is on the market for $1 million, and you, let's say, bought it for maybe a little bit over or a little bit under, is the savings of not being, if you were to buy now and you were not in a bidding war, would that savings sort of combined with the higher mortgage, would it be sort of a wash?
Did everybody get that?
I
Okay,
know.
because do you want to break
Kind of
that
a
apart a little bit?
I can recap that.
Okay.
I think I know what you
Good.
mean,
Yeah.
and stop me if I'm
Yes.
wrong. Okay. If someone's buying a house, let's say today's gonna be $1 million, okay?
Right.
I don't know, maybe it started at 800, who knows where it started,
Right.
but you're at 6%. So
Yeah.
let's project that same house a couple of years, say 5 years down the road, and I'm gonna say conservatively would go for 1.2. And
Right.
realistically, it's gonna
For
go higher than
Right.
that, but let's just use this as,
Yes.
as an example.
Totally.
So you buy it today for $1 million, you put 20% down, you're financing 800,000, okay? 800,000. In 5 years, let's say 200,000 higher, 1.2, 20%, you're financing 960.
Right.
So the question is, my 800,000 I'm borrowing today at 6%, so that payment is 4,796 a month.
Okay.
Principal and interest,
Got
okay?
it.
Got it.
In 5 years, at 1.2, 20% down, borrowing more, you're borrowing 960, your payment is 4,047. Bottom line is the payment is higher now by $750 a month. See, I
Interesting.
know. It's like, okay, so what do I do? But here's the kicker. If you buy today, even though you're paying $750 more a month over 5 years, because we're doing that
Yeah.
comparison, that's 45,000 more you've spent, right? And then you refinance though, and you spend say 4,000 to
Yeah.
refinance, right? So all in, you've spent another say 49,000.
Yeah.
However, fast forward to those 5 years. So right down the road, you're gonna owe, if you buy today at 6%, you're gonna owe 744,000.
Right.
That's money you put down with your mortgage payment,
Yeah.
principal and interest.
Right.
If you're buying the house down the road, you're going to owe 960,000. That difference is 215,000.
That's a lot.
And that's
So
when you
you're
do it.
still,
Yeah.
so even if you're buying
Yeah.
in today's market, when you go to sell, you're going to be making a really significant amount of money.
Yeah.
Significant.
And that also just, I'm saying traditionally, again, nobody has a crystal ball, but that would be a better rate than you would get in the stock market
Totally.
for sure, by a lot.
Totally. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in 5 years down the road, that person who bought it today, they're just going to refinance.
Of course.
Right.
So they're already in. So honestly, it is a no-brainer. Like the reality is everything points towards
Right.
you buy today at today's.
So the question I have is, and I think a lot of people out there are wondering too, because I've talked to a lot of buyers about, don't worry, you can refinance, or for a seller who doesn't want to sell right now because they're locked into a low rate, that they can buy something at a higher rate now and then refinance. But how long is the time before you can do that?
Good question.
Great
And
question.
I'm not guaranteeing anything I say here.
Of course not. Of course not.
We don't have a crystal ball.
Right, right.
Just a
And that's not fair. I didn't
microphone.
prepare you
Just a
for that.
microphone.
No, that's okay. But really, the most economists agree that it's going to be somewhere in 24 to 26 is when rates are going to be coming down. And I am going to answer this later to, the question is, when does it make sense for me to refinance?
Yeah.
There's a lot factored in that. And I would tell my own clients, and I'm letting everybody know, when you hear the news, rates are coming down, give me a shout out or call your lender.
Yes.
We'll go through the numbers. There's a lot factored in.
And where do people get in touch with you? Just again, I just want to, before,
My cell phone.
okay,
They
which
can call
is,
401-965-5816.
just in case someone doesn't get to the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, text or call, and I always analyze if a refinance makes sense.
Yeah.
But and it's just like the best, easiest way to make money in life is by
Yeah.
refinancing your
Right.
loan, if you're going to be living there.
So,
Absolutely.
and I guess part of my question too was, is there a time constraint from when you first are taking out this mortgage?
Great
Is there a 6 month or a year or 2 years? What is it?
6 payments. You have to make 6 payments on your mortgage
Okay.
by the time you refinance.
Okay.
that's the standard answer
That's a-
for
yeah.
any
Great.
lender,
That's so
which
great to
really
know.
isn't a lot, many payments.
So basically, it's 6 months of just paying this higher payment,
Yeah.
and then you can refinance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rates don't
That's
fall
amazing.
down immediately dramatically. I mean,
course. They
I always think of it like weight. People, it's easy, like eat a couple extra brownies. Your weight goes up high, it's harder, it's slower to come down, right? It's
Yeah.
just, it's the rates
I love
someday
that.
don't
Yeah.
just tumble down quickly.
So can you refinance? How many times can you refinance? I mean,
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
Are you kidding me?
I
I've
did
been
not
doing
know
this for
that.
so many. I have clients who are like refinance again, and I'll talk about that a little later on. But
Okay,
there's an
that's amazing.
unlimited amount of times. If you can justify it, it's all about numbers.
Okay.
And I always go through with clients and I say, okay, let's pretend you didn't refinance, and so let's not refinance. A, let's look in 5 years, 7 years, project out, and then let's refinance and pretend you didn't, and keep paying the same thing. The difference becomes astronomical. I mean, what's that word where it goes bigger? Exponentially.
Yes.
Exponentially bigger as time goes on, and that money's in your pocket versus the bank's.
Ooh,
I
like
mean, it's
that.
a no-brainer.
That's
I
great.
mean, it's a no-brainer.
Brainer.
Yeah.
But that's
some
the
of
proof of the
those.
pudding about, do we buy today? Rates are so high. I keep telling clients it really does make sense to buy today versus waiting.
But then,
Okay, that's
Sally, let me ask you this: just in your, in the history of what you've done, yes, rates are definitely higher than they were 2 years ago, for sure. But do you think that they are outrageously high in terms of the history of your profession and what you've done? Because they are definitely higher. And it is more money, but they've been a lot higher.
But they're a lot higher from the 3%, so
Right.
Of
so
course.
in today's world they're higher, but are they really that high?
That's a great question. So I only have my own data, which
Yeah.
would be 30, since I started in the late 80s. And I would say, to me, the price point would be anything 6% or lower is good. Really, I would say
Yeah.
6%. And the reason why is because over 30 years, majority of the loans I've done have been over 6%.
Right.
So again, the last few years were an anomaly. I mean, right, there were just a lot of things factored in. 6% is a good rate. Anything below that's good, really good.
It's
right?
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
so also I read an article also that said, and I don't know what the actual percent was that was the lowest that it recently went, but I do know that it was historically the lowest ever in
Yes.
terms of, as an American percentage rate. However, I was also told that there's probably those days are never coming back. So if you're waiting for that day to come back, you might be waiting for a really long time. Just because we don't know that the Fed is ever going to allow that to happen again.
So, again, what we hear, what we read is that it's really unlikely that the Fed, the U.S. government, is going to buy massive amounts of mortgage-backed securities.
Right.
They would have to keep buying them to push the rates down and hold them down. It's just really not going to happen. We likely
Right.
won't see those days. I mean, again, that range I gave you, 4.5% to 5.5% is realistic. Great for refinancing,
Right.
great for buying. Maybe it'll go lower now if we come into some deep recession,
Yeah.
which could happen. Rates would go to back to those historic levels.
Right.
Hopefully that won't happen, and
Right,
likely it
because
won't.
that's
But
going
that's
to
the
be
only
a way
way.
bigger
course.
problem financially for people.
Oh, yeah. Right.
That's not going to be your refinancing at that rate. If we go to a major recession, is not going to be your big problem.
Right.
Yeah, and another thing, kind of piggybacking when you asked, why should you wait for a lower rate or wait for those days? So fast forward, rates are now low again, even say in the 4s,
Yep.
low 5s. Buyers are going to be coming out, right? So there's going to be more people. There's almost going to be more people. It's almost going to drive the prices even higher, believe it or not,
I don't-
because there are going to be more people interested in buying. So, although I know it's challenging now, we have a low supply, we have bidding wars. It's going to actually get more challenging because then everybody's going to be jumping on it. Another reason why, if you've got that higher rate now, you'll just
Refinance
put it to
later.
lower
Yeah.
rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question: are there any incentives or tax breaks right now that people can take advantage of in Rhode Island?
Great question.
Yes. So the main, I always say, people are always asking me questions about interest, write-off, and this and that. And I always say, ask your accountant, really, because those tax laws are constantly
that's a great point,
changing,
of
and
course.
that's not our expertise. However, for Rhode Island specifically, the best program going is for qualified buyers and qualified homes with the Rhode Island Housing. Right now, Rhode Island Housing has, for first-time home buyers, okay, so they have this great $17,500 grant they're giving people $17,500.
That's amazing.
There's also a mortgage credit certificate program. So to answer your question, really, that's a really only like specialty for Rhode Island.
Yeah.
You guys have right now.
Yeah.
Well, so we mortgage equity partners, and besides the Rhode Island Housing Program for those great tax breaks and incentives, we have all the standard programs: the jumbo, the conventional, all the Govy programs,
Yep.
FHA, VA, construction, rehab, all of those programs. So we also have some programs where they're almost like the no tax returns. These are specialized programs, and so it is. We can look at 1099 income only. We don't need to see your tax returns. Like,
Incredible.
crazy.
Wow.
It's called.
Yeah.
I know. We also have
That's
a program
amazing.
based on bank statements only. Don't need to see your tax returns.
Incredible.
So
For freelancers, that's huge.
it's huge,
Yeah.
and it is. These are the specialty programs. And there's also, so we've got a rental income cash flow too. So those are,
Wow.
you're not going to get the lowest rate. You're going to, you show all your tax returns and everything.
Yeah.
You're going to get the best, extremely competitive rate. But for some buyers who aren't going to fit into the conventional loan or jumbo products, we've got these specialty programs.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's
Yeah.
really great.
We also have a nice program for first responders. It's for firefighters,
Wow.
police officers, nurses,
Oh, that's
all different
amazing.
people, and
Excellent.
we have a special
Yeah.
credit we can give them at
That's
closing.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That is
That's
fantastic.
Yeah, but
great news.
all these details, I mean, there are so many details with these programs. Anybody can call me, and I'm happy to go over more specific
Awesome.
details.
That is so
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
Do you have any other questions?
I mean, I think that's kind of
Yeah, that was really, really helpful. Anything more that you want to talk about?
So I do. I had a couple
Awesome.
things I wanted to
I love
ask you
this.
guys about, and I said even talk about.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
love
did.
it.
It's in my last
Yeah.
little card here.
Oh my God, we have to talk.
So
Heidi and I aren't so great at answering questions
No,
on the
we
fly.
like
the
to
best.
ask the
You're the
questions.
So I read an article recently in the Wall Street Journal, about the West Coast in general, values are going down.
It's true.
Right? The East Coast values are going up. And so I read the article, and on a personal level for me, and I'm curious what you've seen, I have done a ton of loans over the last year or two, people moving from the West Coast.
Yes.
Of course.
And I'm always asking them, and what I'm getting is sick of the fires, sick of the homelessness, sick of the droughts.
Yep.
And I do
Yes.
know politically, don't want to get political, but there's a lot of legislation I know in California about taxes when you sell.
Yes.
And also, people can work remotely. So
Yes,
they're kind
of
of
course.
moving back east.
Yeah.
So I see this where East Coast is going up. Are you finding many clients from the West Coast? I'm
Yes.
curious what you're seeing.
Yes. Well, it's funny that you asked that. I was out there living for 3 months this past year, and with the intention of possibly moving back. I lived out there for a number of years, and number one, affordability is ridiculous out there.
Yeah.
But it was full heat wave. It was, now they've had all this rain, the earthquakes, everything, and people are starting to really freak out. You just spoke of that we're not going to get into today,
Yeah.
why people are
Yeah.
heading back. But the whole push is moving.
Yeah.
So, and I've got a client right now who's in that Silicon Valley, and they're just
Yeah.
like, we're out of here. We're coming back to Rhode Island.
And so that I think kind of ties into what you asked earlier about buy now versus wait. But if great article, I'll send it to you guys. I don't know if you read it, but
Yes,
another reason is it seems like values are continuing in almost demand and lack of supply.
Yeah.
So
They 100% are. I will say that half of my buyers right now are actually from the state of California, and they're moving for a lot of the reasons that you spoke about. I also just want to tell everybody, because this is an interesting fact, that I believe, actually, I'm going to say it's a fact, and then I'm going to backtrack and say why I believe it. But
He
I'm
hopes it's
almost positive.
interesting.
Actually, everybody at home, look this up. I'm almost positive that 46% of people that purchased homes in Rhode Island last year were from out of state. not necessarily from California, but from out of state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, here's the other thing in terms of supply and demand. We have a lot of people who want to live here.
Yeah.
And, whether you're going to be buying a house here or building a house here, you've got a lot of people. Rhode Island has become an extremely popular state to live in. You're close to Boston. You're 2.5 hours away from New York on the Excella train. It's shockingly beautiful here. You look like you're in a WB TV show. living over here.
I have time for one more thing.
Yes,
Of course,
you do.
yes.
Okay, so I wanted to bring this up in when we were doing the numbers, looking forward. The rental market. What's the scoop? Is that also low supply and ridiculously expensive?
Yes.
What's that
Yes.
like?
So my people from California are going to have to rent at some point, and the rents are just about as high as they are out west right now.
Yeah.
It's really tough, and it's for things that would normally be $1,000 for a 2-bedroom on the east side are now going for $3,500, and they're some of them aren't in such great shape. And
Yeah.
$3,500 per month is that's a mortgage payment on a $700,000 house.
You're heading
Or something
towards
like that, so-
New York City.
Yeah.
You're heading towards in downtown. You're heading towards Lower Fifth Avenue,
Yeah.
West Village prices.
Right, right. But the good news, I mean, that they are available. They're going very quickly.
And so when you look at that thing about buying now or waiting or
Well-
renting even, when you're renting, they're paying the landlord's mortgage,
of
right?
course.
That's Stephen's line.
And
Exactly.
That's it.
exactly.
So, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
paying your landlord's.
Yeah.
Right.
You're paying your landlord's
Well,
mortgage. So
and
I
more.
mean, here's the
I
other
mean-
thing, you guys, is that it's serious, and I'm not counting anybody else's money for them for sure. But if you were to be able to afford the down payment, which could be as low as 5%, if you were to do that, and then you spoke to Sally, I think that you might find that you're living in a much better place
Yeah.
for sometimes less money.
Yeah.
And I understand it's a big decision to buy, but even if you were to buy now and then sell in a year and a half or in 4 years when you graduate from college or whatever, you will be making money. It's just, it's a smarter way to do things.
Yes.
If you can
Yeah.
afford it, and if you
Right.
can't, totally understand.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like we never want to steer clients wrong. I think
Oh,
a
God,
lot
no,
of
never.
buyers these days are anxious and the rates and this
course.
and that. But I always say you got to look at the facts. Look at
Yes.
the numbers.
Yeah.
And the facts point towards we have a supply shortage that's not ending for a long time.
Right.
The fact is people are moving to the east, right? Our market is hot, and when rates go down, there's even going to be more people. So again, it
Yeah.
just makes more sense
Right.
to do it now if you can. And I think people need to get you need to get pre-qualified, pre-approved. And I always tell people, rather than letting me tell you what's the maximum you qualify for, tell me what you're comfortable with. Like what's the
Right.
max you're
Right.
comfortable with,
That's
and
great.
then going in, this is as high as I can go. And some people are surprised it's more
Right.
than they thought. Some people are surprised in the other way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's less than they thought, but people have to get a reality check and be ready to move.
Of
And
course.
it doesn't have to be the fear factor.
Right.
No.
So.
Right. Exactly.
And also, a lot of times people are surprised at what they can actually afford.
Right.
And what the difference between paying, $3,500, $4,500 a month in rent translates to when it comes to a house.
Right.
Maybe you have an extra room to rent out.
Yeah.
Maybe, I'm just saying, if you look at it from many different angles, you might wind up seeing things differently.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that was amazing. Thank you for
Sally,
the information.
You are a mathematical genius.
She is.
And
Definitely not.
amazing.
Amazing.
And the best person in the entire world. And we love having you here. We're so
Totally.
proud to have you here today.
We are.
I feel like you made us look great.
Oh, she has.
She does. She does.
Well, you know what it is? You're so comfortable. You're so knowledgeable. And that translates. Great to work with.
And
My
this is
cards,
the
my
thing that I
choices.
also love about Sally, is that she has a mind for numbers, but she also is a creative
Oh, yeah.
beautiful human being. So
Yeah.
honestly, I'm very happy
So
to have
sweet.
you.
Well, likewise.
Me
You guys
too.
are amazing.
We feel really lucky.
Thank you for being here.
Hey Sally, so we do this thing when we end our shows where we talk about one thing in Rhode Island that we're gonna recommend, and it doesn't have to be Providence. It could be absolutely anywhere, but just one. What's your Rhode Island recommendation of the day?
Okay, I love this question. When you told me you were going to ask this, I instantly thought of it, and because I was walking in Wayland Square the other day, which
Okay.
is in
Love
Providence,
Wayland Square.
great little area, and I walked into this new clothing shop. You probably already know about Coco Goose.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know it existed.
Yes.
I'll go.
They
Yes.
are like fashion forward, chic, fun. Actually, I
Oh.
got this little dress
Did you
there.
So cool.
Did you see the green pants in the window?
Oh yes.
That's why I'm going
Yeah,
back. Okay,
so
it's
cool.
awesome.
I
is
love it.
awesome.
I absolutely love
Yeah.
it. And they're like they have a shop which I didn't know in Stowe, Vermont, and in Manchester, Vermont, and they have amazing clothing. So that's my plug.
Okay,
is
I just
Coco
want to say
Goose.
that when Sally came in, she looks amazing.
She does look
She always
amazing.
does, but
We're gonna
her
have her get
outfit
up and do a
also
little
is
strut back
so
and forth.
cool. I was like, you look like
Yeah.
you're on the cover of ABBA.
Totally.
Remember with like
Yeah.
the helicopter landing and everybody in ABBA was like, the helicopter. I was like, we should recreate that today.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
too
Totally.
funny.
I know.
Totally. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And that's again, it's called Coco.
Coco Goose.
Coco Goose in Wayland Square in Providence, and we'll put up.
Check
a
it
little
out. Do they have
thing, too.
men's clothes?
I don't think so.
Oh, sorry,
You know what?
Stephen. That's
It's
for the ladies
2023.
out there.
What
Or
are
if
men's-
you're a guy and want
what
to
are
wear
men's
go ahead.
clothes?
Yeah.
You know, it's 2023.
Actually,
So what's
I could wear
yours?
that.
I just
You
said
could
that.
wear that.
Anybody could wear it. Really.
Anyone could wear that.
Anybody.
Yeah.
It's like amazing.
I mean,
I love
I mean, I'd have to get
It's-
like 17,000 sizes larger. But I wear it. I wear it. Okay, so my recommendation today. I'm nervous that you
Why?
already
Don't be-
said this.
What?
Because I'm worried that Heidi already said this, and if she did,
It
then
doesn't
I
matter.
apologize.
No one's gonna
Stop.
remember.
And Hope Village, which
What
is
is
a
it?
cooking store. Stop.
I thought you were saying stop. Okay,
No, stop.
I was like, stop
Wait,
what?
have you guys been to Stop?
yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has the best. Okay. You know when you're like looking for a hostess gift, or you're going over to somebody's house, and you know maybe you're gonna bring something other than a bottle of wine. Go to Stop. They have everything. Whether you wanted to bring somebody over, like, you know, like 6 beautiful, like bright pink dinner napkins. They have.
Yes.
If you wanted
Nice.
to get like whatever coffee maker you use, they have it. They have really high end,
Okay.
very cool, super appreciated things there. I buy it for myself a lot, but
All right.
I will buy it for any of you if you know,
Excellent.
if you invite me over. Yeah,
That's fun. That's
Yeah,
a
it's
good
like
one.
a cool local Williams.
Yeah.
really cool.
Right?
Also,
And it has
Hope
some-
Village.
Another one. From
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so mine's a little different this time.
Oh my God, this is like show and tell.
So, all right, there's a company called Whalers. This is beer, Rhode Island made.
Crack that baby open.
Oh, here you go. Oh, sorry, there's a little sand on here because this is glass from the beach. But
nice.
Sand
They're
on
they
the Whalers.
are
Welcome to Rhode Island.
in South Kingstown, Rhode Island, and
The
it's
best.
an awesome brewery. They do their
South
own.
Kingstown.
They do all of their brewing, canning, and kegging of everything on their
Can I
facility.
drink this?
Oh my God, that's what it's for. It's the end of the show.
Also,
We can
this
have a
is-
beer.
This is ice
Anyway,
cold.
it is.
When you see this in the store, everybody, check it out. Get some. It is so good. It has like a citrusy, yummy. Isn't it refreshing?
That is.
It's so good. And
Okay, it's almost. Do you know what it is? Is it a grapefruit taste?
it's very citrusy. It
Yes,
is like a
it's
grapefruit.
not unlike a
Yummy.
fresca. It's like a fresca.
Oh my God. Yeah, you can have
It's
many,
like a
many
fresca-
frescas on the beach.
It's like a fresca times beer.
We're gonna
That
do this
really
this
is good.
summer. Fresca
This is an IPA. APA.
Yes.
APA.
Yeah, it's so yummy. So cheers.
American Pale Ale.
Thank
I
you so
love
much
it.
again for being
Great.
here. Whalers.com is where you
Thank
can go
you
to
so
find all
much.
their things.
And
And
if you have any questions at all about mortgages, refinancing,
Yes.
any of the things we discussed today, then you need to call Sally. And we will
Yes.
have all of her information in the notes. And so please don't be shy. Look her up. She is possibly one of the nicest people you've ever
she's
met.
awesome.
And
we love her.
we love her.
Well, all back
Awesome.
at you guys.
We love you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today.
And just in time because the sun's coming in.
I
and
know,
then,
and we're gonna all,
Check out
yeah,
the
I
house.
know.
and wait till you see this house.
Oh my God. Amazing.
It's pretty amazing. All right, thank you guys.
Bye.
See you next week.